A tiny foal, frozen solid after a brutal blizzard, found by a wildlife expert who thought it was just another casualty of nature's fury. But then, something happened. Something that left scientists stunned and changed everything we thought we knew about life and death. What you're about to hear is the incredible story of survival, mystery, and connection between humans and animals. A story that will make your heart race, your spirit soar, and maybe even question what's truly possible in this world. If you're moved by this tale, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you never miss a story like this again, and leave a comment below. Let us know where you're watching from and what you think of Lazarus' journey. It was late January in the high plains of Montana, where winter storms don't just come through, they attack. Temperatures had plunged to 30 degrees below zero, wind howling like wolves across the frozen land. When Dr. Elena Carter stepped out into the snow, her breath turned to ice before it even touched the air. She was a wildlife biologist, seasoned by years of tracking wild horses across the rugged terrain. Her job? To assess the damage after the storm had passed. She'd seen loss before too many times, but this time something felt different. As she trudged through knee-deep snow, radio crackling at her side, her assistant called in. We found the main herd near Redwater Ridge. 6 adults, all alive, but no sign of Luna, the pregnant mare from the southern group. Elena adjusted her goggles and checked her GPS. I'm heading toward their usual winter grounds. I'll update you if I find her. Hours later, she spotted movement, not far from a grove of snow-covered pines. There stood Luna, shivering but alive, and beside her, a small, still shape encased in ice. Her heart dropped. The newborn foal lay frozen, its body perfectly still, as if it had simply fallen asleep in the cold. Luna nuzzled the icy form gently, then looked up at Elena with eyes full of something deeper than fear. Maybe hope, or desperation. Elena knelt beside the foal, her scientific mind already whispering the truth. This little one didn't make it. Hours in freezing temperatures, no shelter, no warmth. The odds were impossible. But something in Luna's gaze made Elena pause. She reached out, gently brushing the ice off the foal's face. Its eyelashes sparkled like frost. So fragile, so still. Against every rule in the book, she made a choice. I'll take him, she whispered to Luna. You rest. I'll take care of your baby. Carefully, she lifted the frozen body into her insulated pack and carried it back to her cabin. A small, warm space tucked deep in the forest, miles from anyone else. Inside, she laid the foal on her examination table, documenting everything for research. Photos, measurements, notes, just like always. But as the heat from the wood stove began to melt the ice, something strange happened. First, around the muzzle, the ice melted away, revealing soft nostrils. Then, a hint of pink beneath the skin, not the blue-gray of death. Elena blinked. She grabbed her stethoscope, barely believing her own ears when she heard it. A heartbeat, faint, slow, but real, impossible. She stared at the tiny chest rising ever so slightly. This foal, frozen solid, should have been gone. No blood flow, no warmth, no signs of life. And yet, she worked through the night, warming the foal slowly, feeding it small amounts of warm fluids, monitoring the pulse like it was a miracle ticking in her hands. By morning, the ice was gone. What remained was a small colt, bay coat, white star on his forehead, breathing steadily. By midday, he opened his eyes. Deep brown, alert. He looked at Elena, not with fear but with recognition, like he knew her. She named him Lazarus. Days passed, and Lazarus defied every expectation. He grew stronger, faster, smarter than any foal should be. Within a week, he was walking. Within 2, trotting. His healing was beyond science. His awareness, even more so. Elena knew she couldn't keep him forever. Wild horses weren't meant for captivity. So on the 8th day, she took him back to Luna. They watched each other carefully. Lazarus and Luna touched noses, then both turned and looked straight at Elena, not in fear, in gratitude. Lazarus walked over and nudged her hand, just like the day she found him. Then he followed his mother into the mountains, leaving Elena behind with tears in her eyes and a new purpose in her heart. But that wasn't the end. Weeks passed, months, and Lazarus kept growing. Faster, smarter, more aware than any horse she'd ever studied. He could sense danger before it came, warn the herd of fire, predators, even approaching hikers. One day, he brought Elena something she'd lost, a cloth bag from her field kit, returned like a gift from the wild itself. He communicated without words, sending her visions, impressions, knowledge she couldn't explain. And one night, he led her deep into the wilderness, to a hidden valley untouched by time or maps. There, surrounded by the entire herd, she understood. Lazarus wasn't just a survivor. He was a bridge between species, between worlds. He had returned from the edge of death not just to live, but to teach. And Elena? She had been chosen to listen. Moral lesson asterisk. Sometimes, the greatest miracles are born from the coldest moments. And sometimes, the most unlikely among us carry the wisdom to change everything. Stay curious. Stay open. Because you never know when a frozen foal might thaw your heart and show you the world in a whole new light.